Hey guys, Soda here, back again to another movie review, and today we'll be reviewing Stranger Things Season 4. Now, if you guys remember, back in 2020, I already did reviews for the other Stranger Things seasons from seasons 1 to 3. I still have those videos up, and I will put the link down below to those videos if you guys want to check those out. So yeah. So I won't get into the cast of Stranger Things Season 4 because it features a really huge cast that I don't want to get into because it would just take way too long, but I will get into the plot though right now. So the plot to this is we follow with four stories all happening at once. The first one being the main story and the story that I was the most interested in, the story in Hawkins. Now the story in Hawkins features this new villain named Vecna who is going after the depressed people who've had dark past and all of that, and mostly teenagers because they're teens are the ones that have the most depression in them. So yeah, and then he's going after them and he's killing them and he's making them his own. And so Dustin, Steve, Erica, Max, Robin, Nancy, Eddie, and Lucas, they all see this happening and they think it's a part of the Demogorgon, but then they realize it's not, that it's something completely different, that it is something very new. And so they end up finding out about this new entity called Vecna. And so what they're trying to do is they're trying to see what his plan is, and then they're trying to stop him. So that's the whole story in Hawkins. And then we get on to the story in California. So first off, in California we start off with Elle and Will. Eleven and Will, they're in school, but Eleven's getting bullied a lot. And Will doesn't have any problems with himself, but I mean he does when Mike shows up. But and then we get on to Jonathan and Argyle, they're best friends now and they smoke a lot of weed. So yeah, and then Mike comes to California to visit Elle, and then Elle tells him all this fake stuff, I have friends, I have this friend named Angela, but Angela's actually her bully. And then Mike and Will, they're kind of having a little bit of trouble with each other because they're not really talking to each other much, and they used to be best friends, but they're not really that close anymore. So yeah, but and then 11, oh yeah, fuck, I totally forgot to mention, if you guys have not seen Stranger Things Season 4, please leave this review, because I will get into some major spoilers in this video, and I'm talking major. So if you guys haven't seen this video, please leave this review right now. And also, I forgot to mention earlier, this will be a very long review because I do have a lot to talk about with this season. So yeah, just please stick around. Yeah, that'd mean a lot if you'd stick around. So yeah, but what else was I gonna say? Oh yeah, and then we get on to 11. So they're in this roller skating area, and then she actually gets a roller skating shoe and smacks Angela's nose with it. And so from there, she almost gets put to juvie, but then these government men are stopping them from doing that, and they take 11. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention before, there's another thing too, as you guys may know, oh yeah, there's this colonel guy who's, I forgot his name, but this colonel guy who's trying to look for 11, he wants to experiment on her for himself. So yeah, and then he talks to Sam Owens about it, the original owner of the Hawkins lab, and then he tries to save 11 from doing that. He tries to get her from going to juvie, and then he's taking her to this facility in Nevada that he says will get her powers back. He tells her about this new entity, and she needs to get her powers back. And so she goes to this facility, and big surprise, it's her fucking father who owns this facility, her father Brenner from the first season, and he's experimenting on her once again, and then he's trying to get her to get all her powers back while he's putting her in this tub called the Nina Project, which is taking her back in time to her memories when she was in the lab with this other guy. I think his name was Franklin, or I don't know what his name, but he was another good doctor that would talk with her a lot. And it's just showing her with all the kids, all the other kids that would get experimented on too, the other numbers. So yeah, what was I gonna say? So yeah, that's what 11's doing. She's trying to get her powers back to defeat this entity. Meanwhile, we get Mike, Will, Argyle, and Jonathan, and they're being attacked by all the cops. The cops that break in. Not the cops, the other bad government men that are working for the colonel guy. They're trying. like they're trying to like get answers from them on where 11 is at and all of that, but the kids leave right on time. And then what else? What else is there? So yeah, so Mike, Will, and Argyle and Jonathan, what they're trying to do is they're trying to escape from them, and they're also trying to look for where Eleven's at because they think those people are, they know those people are after her, so they're trying to warn 11. So they're just trying to look for her. So that's the whole story in California. But like where, oh yeah, and also where 11 is being experimented on is in Nevada, I think. Yeah. And then there's another story that we follow with in Alaska with Joyce, Murray, and Hopper. Hopper is being in this Russian facility that's in Alaska, and he's a prisoner, and he's just getting tortured a lot, and like yeah, like they're just all kept in this Russian facility that's like torturing all these people. So yeah, but like, and then Joyce finds out that Hopper's still alive, and so uh she tries to like get Murray to help her out, and so they try to go to Alaska and try to free Hopper. So yeah, that's the whole gist. That's the whole plot of Stranger Things season 4. Now, did I like Stranger Things season 4? To be honest, I actually don't know what to think of it actually. Like this season actually got me super mixed. Like wow, like I never thought Stranger Things would have gone like this. As some of you guys may know, Stranger Things is my favorite TV show, and when I reviewed it was during the times when I was reviewing my favorite movies, and shocker, like my favorite TV show ended up in the mix too. So yeah, and Stranger Things season 3, that is my favorite of all the seasons, and it is not only my favorite of the seasons, but I also cheatingly put it on my third favorite movie. I fucking love season 3. Season 3 was so satisfying, so colorful, so funny, fucking awesome. I loved it. It was perfect. I loved it, and I just loved the whole summer feel too. It was a little, it was very nostalgic too. I love season 3. So yeah, but I don't know what the fuck happened with season 4. Like this is supposed to be a continuation of my third favorite movie, and then it goes way downhill, and it's like, what? Literally every single season, seasons 1 to 3, I equally love with all my heart. Like I love them so much, and they're easily like A's. Like seasons 1 to 3 are like easy A pluses for me right there, and I just fucking love them. But this one literally went very like downhill, and it went down to the B level, and I never thought my favorite show would have gone down to a B. I thought it would always stick to an A, but this season just got me super mixed. Like, and my main issue with this season is just there was just way too much happening in it all at once, and I mean way too much happening. Like I couldn't even process at times. Like it just kept cutting back and forth to so many different shit. Like so much shit that wasn't even necessary too. So much shit that just kept dragging on for so long, and so much shit that was so annoying. Like literally, like it just dragged so much that at times I even forgot about the other characters too. I'm like, wait, I forgot about that guy. He's in this show too. Yeah, so this just had way too much happening in it. I couldn't even process. Like, it was like all over the fucking place. Like, that was my main issue with this. And another issue I have with this is what I love about seasons 2 and 3. What I love about those seasons was every single new character in those seasons I loved. Like, I literally loved every single new character the show brought. But season 4 totally ruined that, and it gave me so much new characters that I legit hated. I hated a lot of these new characters, but there was only just like, I think there was only just one or two like new characters that I legit love, such as Eddie, and I also really loved the teenagers in the beginning too that died, Chrissy and Fred. They were really interesting. I really wish they had survived longer. Like they were actually really interesting new characters, but they died so fast. And what else? So a lot of the new characters I'm not even interested in at all. A lot of them I find very, very annoying and just very like stupid. I hate most of them. And I just literally like there are like two new characters in here that I literally find to be easily very, very hateable. So yeah, and yeah, so but first off, like let's get on to the good stuff. The good stuff is all the old characters from all the previous seasons, you know, like our like main characters, they're still awesome. Like they're still great in this show. Like that's what I love about them. They're still great in the show. Well, at least the ones in Hawkins. The ones in the other stories like kind of lagged a bit in the season, but like Dustin, Steve, Erica, Max, Robin, Nancy, and Lucas, like they're still amazing. Like they're still amazing characters, and I still care for them very deeply. So yeah, and then 11, I still care for very deeply. Who else? And Hopper, Joyce, and Murray, I still really care for. Like I still really care for them a lot here too. So yeah, and then so let's start off with Dustin. Dustin's story in here, like at first the show starts off with the Hellfire Club, which is this D&D program, which Dustin, Mike, and Eddie, the new character, like and Erica too, like they all join this club for D&D, but it's very sad. Oh yeah, I will say the first half of this show was really good actually. I would say episodes 1 to 4 were amazing. Like I loved episodes 1 to 4. 1 to 4 were great. Like they were very like, you know, chill. They were easy to like follow. Like it was the beginning, so it was simple. Like I loved episodes 1 to 4. Like they were great. Like so I would say that was the best part of that. Those were the best episodes. So yeah, I won't say the season's bad. Like the season's not bad, don't get me wrong. I enjoyed the season, but there's a lot of stuff I didn't enjoy too, you know? But episodes 1 to 4 were great. But as soon as it got into episode 5, that's when it started to get downhill. I mean, episode 5 was okay. Like there was a lot of cool stuff in it. Like, you know, when they go to what are their names? To the what was that? To the Creole house. Yeah, when they go to the Creole house, that whole sequence was great in episode 5. But a lot of other stuff happening in episode 5 I didn't really care for. And episode 6, I would say episode 6 was probably the worst, because episode 6 was literally the one that was the most messy. The episode 6 was super messy, and that was the episode where I'm like, there's way too much happening here. I can't even process. Like, there's so much useless shit in that episode too. And yeah, but every single one of these episodes are super long. Like they're all on the 1 hour scale. Like in the other seasons, like they were all like 50 minutes. Like they were all like just 15 minutes. But here they literally reached the hour scale to like an hour and 15. Sometimes even an hour 17. Even the last episode was like an hour 30 or something like that. So, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, this is volume 1. So I shouldn't. So I shouldn't really say like my. So don't consider this as my main my main thoughts of season 4, because this is still volume 1. We still need volume 2. Hopefully volume 2 makes it better, but we'll see. But what was I saying? So yeah, they were all very long, and I really felt the runtime to all these episodes. Like they all felt super long. Like I really felt their runtime. And yeah, so yeah, I really felt all the whole runtime with every single episode. But with the rest once again, with the rest of the seasons, I never felt their runtime. Like all the episodes in every other season were all 50 minutes, but I never ever felt their runtime. Like they were all very interesting, very fun, very enjoyable. I never even felt their runtime. Like I was literally like entertained and enjoying myself with every single episode from seasons 1 to 3. But here, I literally feel the runtime with every single fucking episode, and I'm like, wow, I thought these episodes would have gone by a lot faster. And I'm like, yeah, like since they were an hour, I thought they would have gone by fast, but I'm like, no, they go by super slow. Like they drag a lot. So yeah. So let's get back onto the characters, such as Dustin. Dustin's cool, like I was saying, the whole Hellfire thing in the beginning, and then like there was this other subplot with Lucas where Lucas wanted to fit in with the cool kids, and he was in the basketball game, and he wanted like his friends to see his basketball game, but they couldn't make it because they were doing the D&D game. Excuse me, I just ate some food. What else was I saying? So yeah, they were doing that D&D game, but he was so sad that they didn't make it. So Lucas is trying to fit in with the cool kids, and which I could really relate myself to Lucas in that way, because I've always wanted to fit in with the cool kids, but I already know I can't, because I'm nothing like the cool kids. Like I'm not even like cool, like I'm not even close. And Yeah, like I'm not a very popular kid. I'm not hating on myself right now. I'm just saying like I'm not really the most popular kid in school, but I'm not really ashamed of it though. Like don't worry, I'm not largely ashamed of it. Like I don't really care that I'm not very popular, but I just wish I was a popular kid, but I'm fine with where I'm at though, you know? So, but I can really relate a lot to Lucas in that way that he's always wanted to fit in with the cool kids. But what I loved about here, which was beautiful, was as soon as he fits in with the cool kids, he sees that he doesn't like them right away because he already got his first hangover and he started vomiting a lot. And they were all very violent. They were beating up people in front of him, and he's like, "This is not my crowd. I want my friends." Yeah, I really like enjoyed all those scenes with Lucas and yeah, I know I was talking about Dustin, but real quick, but I wanted to get to Lucas first, actually. But Lucas, like, I love that whole thing with Lucas in the beginning. Like, that was very touching and very like relatable. So yeah, and then he even goes back to his friends to like he tricks the cool kids to go to this cabin so he can like leave them and go back to his friends, and yes, that's the character that I find very hateable and very annoying in this season. Is the character of Jason. You know, the cool kids and his whole like tribe, his whole group. I found all of them to be very, very, very annoying. Like I hated all those people so fucking much. I hated them so much. I can't literally like there's no other hate I can describe with them because they were all very fucking bad. I hated them so much. They could have, you could have done the show without them. I hated them so much. They're literally going after the new character Eddie because they think that he killed his girlfriend. But then like he's seeing that he didn't. But then he thinks that Eddie's a part of like a ritual with Satan and all this shit. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, what? Why the fuck is this even here? Like, just take this out already. Like the whole scene with them in court, like in the last episode with Jason with that shitty like annoying speech in the fucking court. I'm like, just get off the screen, dude. Get off the fucking screen. We don't even like you. Literally. I hated Jason so fucking much. Every fucking minute he was on screen, I literally wanted to fucking beat the shit out of him. I hated him so much. I wanted Lucas to literally beat the shit out of him. I hate him so much, and I really hope he dies in Volume 2. I hate that guy so much. So yeah, no more about Jason, because I hate that whole storyline so fucking much. And then we'll get on to another character I hate, which is the Colonel guy, you know, the African American Colonel guy who's looking for 11. I didn't like that guy either. He was fucking useless, and like the whole storyline with him could have been cut out too. Cause I'm like, where the fuck is this even going? Like, what the fuck is this? Torturing some other guy, locking him up, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, why are we even seeing this? Like, yeah, I hated that whole Colonel thing so much. Like him looking for 11, that whole thing like literally went nowhere. And I hope I hope that the whole subplot gets like, you know, like completely ignored, like completely like turned away from Volume 2. I really hope they like 11 kills that guy in Volume 2, like in the first episode or something like that. I really hope that happens because I really hated that whole subplot too. So yeah. So those are the two main characters that I legit hated, and I'll get on to another character that I hated too, like later on though. But yeah, so I really like Lucas a lot, and how he's very passionate to help with the group, and how like even Max and Lucas broke up because like Max is very depressed with her brother dying, which I'll get to Max in a bit. But Lucas is trying to reunite with Max again, and you literally see that he still has a lot of feelings for her, and he still really cares for her, and that was beautiful. So yeah, I really love Lucas a lot in this season. And then we get on to Dustin. So Dustin, he's kind of the same as he was in the previous other seasons, you know, like the same old Dustin, you know, like cool Dustin, you know, like with the with the walkies and all of that, you know, like detective Dustin, like he always acts like a detective, you know, like yeah, Dustin, I would say he was pretty much the same in the season. So Dustin was still really cool in the season. So yeah. And then Steve, he was still a little bit of the same in the season too, but he was still really cool though. Steve's still my favorite character. Like, Steve and Max are my favorite characters of this show, and Steve is still awesome in this show, and I love every single moment Steve has. Steve is just great. Like, I love Steve. And then there's this whole thing too, which I really like too, which I really hope happens, because like Steve Steve and Nancy are starting to become a thing again. Like they're slowly starting to fall in love with each other, and I just find that to be really cute. I mean, season one. Okay, hear this out. Season one, Steve was a complete jerk, and he was completely different in season one than he is now. Season one, I didn't care for him in season one, but as soon as the ending of season one hit, that's when I cared about him, and as soon as season two hit, that's when I cared about him. Like, that's why I love Steve a lot, because he turned out to be a hateful character, to be a very loving character, and he just has a character arc that grows throughout the whole show, and in each season he just gets different and different. So, yeah, Steve has a huge character arc in this show. And what I love about this is, like, Steve, he is completely different than he was in the first season. In the first season, he was a jerk, he was cocky, he only cared about being cool, you know, like some cocky motherfucker, some cocky asshole. So yeah, that's basically what Steve was in the first season. But in season 2, he became cool, like, he became very caring, very loving, you know, just very caring, and he in season 2 was when he first got his, brother relationship with Steve and all of that. So yeah, and then like he just grows a lot, and he's a lot more different in this season, like a fuck ton more different than he was in season 1. So with his new cool good guy personality and him hooking back with Nancy with that personality, wow, that would be perfect. That would be amazing. I really hope they go for it. I really hope they fall in love again. That would be great. So yeah, I really like that whole thing a lot. And let me think. And Steve is basically like the bodyguard. So like, you know, he's the strongest of the group. So I thought that was cool. And then we get on to Max. Max, I would say she's probably my favorite character of this season, and she's probably what carried the season for me. She's probably what saved this whole season for me. Max was phenomenal in this season. I would say Sadie Sink gives her best performance as Max here. She was fucking awesome here. I loved her so much. How at first you see she's very depressed from her brother dying and all of that, and that's when Vecna tries to go after her and all of that. But Max, like, you really feel bad for her with all her depression, and like her whole life is changing and all of that. Like her whole life is changing. Like her stepdad left, Billy's dad, he left them, and the mom is just being a drunk. She's just drinking all day. So yeah, her life is just completely different. She lives in a fucking trailer now instead of that house she lived in. So yeah, and then she just goes to her therapist a lot. She's always listening to Running Up That Hill. Oh, and I love that song a lot, Running Up That Hill. Like, I love that song so much. Like, I've been listening to it a lot lately, since I found out about it, watching it the other day. So yeah, that song is great. Let me think. What else was I gonna say? So yeah, Max was great, and she was even the very first one to notice that the paranormal is happening again and all of that. So anything else I should say? And that she's really trying, and that she's like finding out a lot about Vecna, and that she sees that she's becoming the next host of Vecna, and she's really trying to, like, she's really hoping that she doesn't die, and she's really hoping she could beat Vecna, and like, yeah, and she's even writing all these notes to all these people, like, so if she dies, she'll give it to them. So yeah, episode 4 was probably my favorite of this season, because it was all about her, and like episode 4 was cool too, and it I don't know, episode 4 was the best episode. I don't know, I really enjoyed that episode. Anything else I should say? What else was I gonna say? Oh yeah, and then like and then Max, like, there was a beautiful scene where Max was talking with her brother in her grave, and she even sees her brother Billy, like, Vecna, like, to transform into Billy, like, telling her, like, I know there was a part of you that was happy that I died that day. I know, like, you felt very relieved, and it's like, wow, like, and I did not expect Billy to come back in this season, and that part was great. And I also like that part where she was talking with her mom too, but it wasn't her mom, it was fucking Vecna. Yeah, so yeah, that part was cool. And then this part was fucking awesome, where she was in Vecna's lair, like, when you think Vecna actually has her and he's gonna kill her, but the one thing to save the people from Vecna's breach is music, your favorite song, you know, like like a sense of emotion, like a sense of happiness with something of your favorite. So Yeah, so I thought that was great, and then they even put on "Running Up That Hill" for her while she's in there, and then she hears the music, and then the hole opens up, and she's running to it, but Vecna's trying to stop, trying to like still take her, but she's still running, and I thought that whole scene was beautiful, like it was very beautifully done, the effects, the song in the background, the tension, the emotion, it was fucking amazing. I love that scene so much, and she was running to the hole and she barely made it out, and they were all so happy she still survived, and I was so happy she still survived, because I don't even know what the fuck I do if she actually did die. She's my second favorite character, right next to Mac, right next to Steve. She's a fucking badass. So yeah, and I'm really glad she didn't die. So yeah, but Mac, she's great in this show. um and then we get on to Nancy. Nancy in this show, like at first, like she's like working with the school, and she's working with this guy named Fred. I think they're working in the newspaper thing or something like that. Like they're working in the newspapers, and they're trying to like find out about the news, and like they're trying to post the news stories that happen in the trailers. But then once they do that, like Fred goes missing, and then like after that, like Nancy finds out that the paranormal is back again. So yeah, but I did like that whole scene with Fred. Like Fred was a very interesting character at first. Like once again, like I said before, I really wish he could have survived more, because I like that whole scene where like everyone was calling him a murderer because like he accidentally like ran over that guy. Excuse me. He accidentally like killed that guy in the car accident. So since then he's been very traumatized, and then that's when Vecna has the like like the decision to get him. So yeah, and all those scenes with Vecna like getting all those depressed people are very scary. Like they're really scary, and the deaths in there, like the bones cracking, like how they die. That whole scene was like, those scenes are very like jaw dropping, and they're very creepy, and like the way they die, yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, the way they die is just very beautifully done. It's excellent. Like it's very scary, and it looks great. So yeah. What was I gonna say? And then there was another character that I was really interested in too in the first episode, Chrissy, who was all her whole family died in the house and all of that, and she was very like depressed, and she was the first one to see Vecna. She saw his feet in the bathroom stall. Oh, and I like that scene a lot where Chrissy and Eddie were talking in that bench in the woods, and they were flirting a little bit too, and they actually could have made a cool couple. Actually, like I would have Eddie and wait, was her name Vicky? Or no, her name was Chrissy. Yeah, Eddie and Chrissy would have actually made a much more cuter couple than Chrissy and fucking Jason. Like I didn't like how they looked at all, but Eddie and Chrissy would have looked amazing together. And then when Eddie saw Chrissy die, like he was super shocked, and then he goes into hiding because they knew that they think it was him. But like yeah, and then like Eddie ends up finding out about all this shit, like with the upside down and all of that, because Dustin tells him. So yeah. What else was I gonna say? So yeah, Nancy was cool in this show. Like, she was really cool, and like, there's something later on that happens with her, but I'll get to it once I get to that part. But yeah, Nancy was cool in this show. Yeah, Nancy was cool, and like I said, the whole thing with her reuniting with Steve is pretty cool. And then, okay, now we get on to Eddie, the new character, Eddie. He's probably one of the only he's probably, if not the only new character that I care about, because this new character, like Eddie, he's awesome. Like I love Eddie a lot. He's very likable. He's so cool. I loved him so much, and literally of all the new characters, he's easily the one that stands out to me the most. So yeah, Eddie, like he was dope. How he was the starter of the Hellfire Club, and like Mike and Dustin were so scared to talk to him at first, but then they were able to, and then they make him his friend, and they joined the Hellfire Club and all of that. Oh, and this scene was great too with Erica, like when she joins the Hellfire Club and she's like taunting him and all this, like they think like, hey, go back to your house or something like that. Like this isn't a book, like this isn't a little kids club. And he's like, she's all like taunting them. She's all taunting them and all this shit, and then you see like, wow, Erica's very tough with them, and then they see this girl is very tough. Yup, she fits in. So yeah, cause she even says like this one line like, "Stop treating this like this is your mom's book club or something like that. And yeah, that whole scene was so funny with Erica. Uh, anything else I was Anything else I should say? So yeah, and that whole thing with Eddie hiding because like people think that he's responsible for the murders. I actually feel really bad for Eddie with all of that, but the whole thing with Jason and the cops and the whole town, all those scenes just really drag a lot. Like all those scenes really dragged for me, and you could have easily, I mean, you could have like trim those scenes down a bit or fucking take them off, like, you know, like at least, or at the least just trim them down. Like they were kind of useless, like they just went on for too long. So yeah, but that's one thing I don't like about Eddie is he makes the whole like other subplots like happen, you know, but it's not really much like a criticism of the character. It's just something like what the character is like responsible for, but it's not the character, you know, it's not the character as a whole, you know. But Eddie, yeah, he's cool, and like I love how he always like gets the group to like go on like a food spree for him and bring him back food and bring him back some beer, and yeah. Oh, anything else I should say about Eddie? And then I always like how he's always like so like he always likes helping out the group a lot with like their whole upside down stuff and all of that. And he's really interested in helping them out, and he's like helping them out because like they'll like clear his name and make his and show that he wasn't doing all the murders. So yeah, and I'm really interested to see how that plays out, to see like how like they end up saying that he wasn't the one that did the murder. So yeah, that should be cool. Anything else I should say? So yeah, Eddie was really dope in the show. So yeah, and then we get on to Robin. Now, Robin was pretty cool in this show, but what I didn't like was she was a little annoying at times. Like, just a little bit at times she was annoying. Like, don't get me wrong, she was still cool. Like, there was this whole scene with her and Nancy in the asylum, which was really cool, which, like, I love that whole scene so much, but at times Nancy just you know, talked way too much, and so, yeah. Robin, but... Yeah, but Robin was way better in season 3, but here she's still cool, but that whole scene with them in the asylum, with them finding out about Victor Creel and all of that, and them pulling on this fake story, like, that whole scene was very funny, but I like the whole scene with Victor Creel, and I like that scene when they were running away from the asylum guards, so yeah, that whole scene was funny. What else was I gonna say? And then we get on to Erica. Erica doesn't really have much in this season. Like season 3, I'm pretty sure she had a lot more in, but in this season she has some, like with the whole Hellfire Club and how she helps them out in the last episode. Like in the last episode, she finally decides to help them out and like to see what the hell's going on. So yeah, with all those scenes with her in the last episode, all those scenes were cool. When she finds out about the lights and all of that, when she helps Steve, Robin, Nancy, and Eddie get out of the Upside Down. Let me think. Any other characters I should talk about? Oh yeah, and then let's get on to the main villain of this, Vecna. Wait, should I talk about Vecna right now? Actually, I'm gonna say Vecna for the end, cause like the end of the show like really shows you what Vecna is all about. So I'll talk about him more when I talk about the ending of the season. So actually, I'm gonna say Vecna for now. But for now, I'm gonna talk about 11. Now, 11 at first as the series like started out, she was really cool. How you saw how rageful she got when she would get bullied, and she even tried to use her powers on Angela, but they didn't work. How she was always getting bullied by Angela, and she even got bullied by the presentation she was showing of when she used to live with Hopper in that cabin. Excuse me, and Angela was laughing at her, and she was even crying, and you felt so bad for 11 in that scene. And yeah, Angela was such a bitch though. Like, I don't see why she was that mean to 11. She was such a bitch. I can't say I didn't like Angela, because if I'd say that, then I'd say she was a bad character like Jason and the Colonel. But she wasn't a bad character. She was good for what she was, you know, like for as like a bully character. She was good for what she was though, you know. Let me think. But she wasn't annoying though. She wasn't annoying at all. Like, she was not annoying like Jason and the Colonel guy. But she was like very bitchy though, you know. Let me think. And then that whole scene in the roller skating arena with 11. Wow, like that scene went down. They threw the whole chocolate shake at her. And then from there, she got really mad at Angela. She actually got a roller skating shoe and smacked her nose with it. And I was like, whoa. Like when I saw that, I was like, damn, I did not see that coming at all. Yeah, that whole scene went down. That was actually really, really dark, and I never thought I would have seen that in a movie. Like a girl smacking another girl with the roller skate. Yeah, and that went down. Like that was very dark. So I really liked that scene a lot with 11. And I liked how at first like 11 like she was lying, like she was trying to make herself look cool in front of Mike, but she shouldn't have done that. She shouldn't. Even Will thought so. Like Will was like, why'd you do that? You know our main rule, the one you always bring up, friends don't lie, and you literally lied to Mike. And it's like, yeah, I mean, yeah, I do agree with you, Will. Like, it's like you do agree with Will a lot there. So, Elle should have just told the truth, like she always does. So, yeah, and then we get on. So yeah, and then we get on to after that, when Elle goes to juvie, I that was a pretty dark moment too. Seeing Elle go to juvie and seeing that whole picture thing, like seeing her picture taken to go to jail, like that was very sad to see. And I felt really bad for 11 there. And like even Mike was trying to visit her, but then he saw the car pass away, and even 11 saw him like in the window. So yeah, yeah, those moments were great with 11 in the beginning, but like when she gets taken to Nina, that's when it starts to lag a little bit with 11. Like, cause the scenes with the Nina project and all of that, I don't know, like they just dragged on for way too long, and they could have been trimmed down. Like they could have, like that's the thing with all these long episodes, is like a lot of from these long episodes could have been trimmed down, and they could have easily been like 50-minute episodes or something like that, and they would have been a lot more simple. But yeah, but there's just it just lags on for too long, and you know it just goes on for way too long. Like all those scenes with her in the lab, like her remembering. I mean, some of those moments are great. Some of those moments are kind of useless though. I don't know. I'm kind of mixed with the whole Nina project thing. But what I did like and what I was not expecting at all was Eleven's dad coming back, Brenner. I did not expect him to be back at all. Like I did not expect that at all. Like seeing him coming down the stairs and showing him, I was literally in full shock. Like I'm like, wow, how the fuck is this guy still alive? Like, what? Like I was not expecting that at all. Like that was probably like one of the biggest twists I've ever seen. So yeah, I was not expecting that at all. Anything else I should say? So yeah, so Brenner was like experimenting on her a lot in the Nina project. Oh, and what was cool about that whole Nina project thing was I love seeing like the two owners of the lab working together, Dr. Martin Brenner and Dr. Sam Owens, like them in the same room working together. I thought that was really cool seeing the owners of the lab work together. Yeah, I thought that was cool. Um, Anything else I just say? And there was even and I like that line that Sam Owen said where he was like, "Are you sure this is even gonna go anywhere, or are you just doing this because you missed your father-daughter time with her?" And I'm like, wow, he's totes right. Let me think. And that scene was cool where she tried to escape, and she even got a little bit of her powers back when she made the people in the sanctum, like, you know, like get pushed. And then even the elevator opened, but she didn't go back. She still decided to stay with her dad. But from that got me a little like, questions, like why did she go back to her dad? Didn't she always hate it with her dad? Didn't she always say her dad was bad man? Yeah. And then she still decided to stay with her after all the torturing she had with him. And I'm like, wow, she could have easily like gone to that elevator. But yeah, so there's a lot of questions with that. But like I said, some of the stuff in the Nina project with the whole lab thing I liked. Some of them I just thought was kind of boring. Like I did like her whole connection with that other guy. Uh, I forgot his name, but I forgot his name, but I know he's yeah. Yeah. I hope a lot of you guys that haven't seen the show haven't been in this video, and the ones who have stayed here, cause like you guys may know he's number one. But yeah, but that all those scenes with her in number one, I thought were very emotional, and like they were very powerful, and just all the advice he was giving her was great. Like I loved all the advice he was giving her, like how to escape and all of that, and like just like giving her some good pointers, like like all those scenes were great. Like I loved all the scenes with her in number one, and then like how she even like got number one to take the how number one got 11 to take that little like chip off of his neck that was like made him stop using his power, because like he tricked her in that scene, because like he tricked her showing that he tricked her saying that we're all controlled, like we're all like the guards, we're all controlled, but if you take this off then I won't be controlled, and I'll be free and you'll be free. And so she does that, but that was a full-on trick. And so number one, he was a fucking bad guy, and he literally goes and kills everyone. He goes and kills everyone in the lab, all the patients, all the kids. That whole scene was fucking dark. Like that scene went down, and I'm like, wow, I was not expecting that guy to be bad. He seemed like a very good guy. Like he didn't seem like a bad guy. Like, wow, and he just did that. This guy was fucking evil, tricking her like that. Wow. So yeah, and then we even find out this guy is fucking Vecna, and it's like, whoa, like I was not expecting that at all. This guy is fucking Vecna, the main bad guy we've been focusing on. This is the fucking guy. I was not expecting that at all. So yeah, and now we'll talk about Vecna. So Vecna, he was a very dope new villain actually. Like I really dug Vecna a lot. Like I liked his whole story, how like he's not really like from the Upside Down. He's actually a human being, but like a human being with abilities, and he was the very first like human to get powers, and he was the number one. Like he was the first one that Brenner experimented on, and like and then like when he was a little boy, like he tried to kill his own family, and like he was crazy since he was a kid, and he was so like interested in time and like bringing like turning back time and all of that, and he was so interested in like rituals and all that. Like he was a very crazy boy, and then he was killing his family, and like he killed his mom. Like he killed his sister, and then like he made the dad go crazy, and like he removed his eyes. Or oh wait, did he remove his eyes? But I don't know. But like he set up the dad, and like he pinned everything on the dad, that the dad was everything that killed all of them. And then they made it seem like the kid went on a coma, but the kid didn't go on a coma. He was just asleep for a bit, and then he woke up in the Hawkins lab, experimented by Brenner. And so like everyone thinks that his dad Victor Creel was the one who did it, but he wasn't. He got sent to the asylum for his whole life, and yeah, but I really feel bad for Victor Creel a lot, because like it wasn't him at all, and he's just sent to this asylum for no reason. And that whole scene where Robin and Nancy were talking to him was very like, well, like what's the word? It was very impactful, I would say, very interesting, and yeah, that whole scene was great. With them talking with Victor Creel, and them finding out a lot about where he came from, and the truth that he wasn't the killer. And even Victor Creel was even played by fucking Robert Englund, Freddy Krueger. That was pretty funny. And what was even funnier was they even mentioned Freddy Krueger later on in the season. I'm like, wow, like 2 Freddy Krueger references. So yeah, and even fucking the actor Freddy Krueger, and they even mentioned the character. So yeah, let me think. What else should I say? What else was? Oh yeah, and then like, so yeah, Vecna was cool, and like the whole thing where he was going after depressed people, and like he wanted to build his own world, and like he became the owner of the Upside Down, and 11 was the one that took him to the Upside Down. And so from there, when he was going to the Upside Down, that's what made him look ugly, like how he looks, and so he becomes the owner of the Upside Down. So yeah, so Vecna, yeah, that whole story with him was really, really cool. I really dug that story. That was an amazing story. So yeah, and that was a great ending to season 4, like volume 1, just seeing like his backstory. That was great. So yeah. Anything else I should say? Vecna, he's such a dope new villain, and like I said, I dig him a lot. And then we get on to oh yeah, and then we get on to the stuff with Mike and Will and Argyle and Jonathan. All that stuff in California, that all of that, like, that's probably my least favorite story of the whole season. Like, that's definitely my least favorite story of it, because that whole subplot with them I was not interested in at all. Like, I was not interested in anything that with Mike and Will and all that shit. Like that's what I said. Mike, Will, and Jonathan, like they're not as cool as they were in the other season. Like they actually like really dragged them a lot in the season. Like they really made them lag, and I'm like, why would you do this to one of my favorite characters, Mike? Mike would probably be my third favorite. Oh wait, no, my third favorite character would be 11, but my fourth favorite would be Mike. So yeah, but Mike is literally like up there with my favorite characters, and they literally lagged him a lot in this season. I'm like, what? Why would you do that? But that whole like subplot with them in California, them trying to look for 11, like them looking for 11 and trying to like see where she's at. That although a lot of those scenes just really dragged on and just went on for way too long, and I was not really interested in them at all, and like they were very annoying too. Like that whole scene where they're in Susie's house, I was just really weirded out by. Like that whole scene was very annoying, and the fucking new character that we're gonna get, Eden, she doesn't even seem cool. Oh yeah, and another character I hate in the show is Argyle. Argyle, I just found it to be very annoying. Like he wasn't like hateable, like Jason and the Colonel guy. He was just very annoying, and I did not like his presence in the show at all. Like I just thought, get off the screen, like just like the other ones. But he wasn't hateable, but he was just so fucking annoying. Like that was my main problem with him, is just he was so annoying, and all he would do was just smoke weed and like freak out. Like he'd have all these freak outs, and his voice and all that, his voice would crack a lot, and I'm like, shut the fuck up, dude. So yeah, so I didn't like Argyle a lot, and like how he's gonna fall in love with Eden. Like no, like don't you even dare give us a shitty subplot like that. Don't you dare give us another shitty subplot.